Nigerians are expected to seek out the best. 2 words to describe the activity.
The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news. Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime News.
A 24-hour news station.
Thanks for joining us again on Core Digest Wednesday. It looks as if the successes being recorded by the coordinated regional forces working on the onslaught against Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria is being dented by some pockets of bomb blasts. And we were also in Kano, where the police have confirmed the death of 12 persons, including 2 suicide bombers in Tuesday's bomb attack on the Kano Line Motor Park. Now, Commissioner of Police Ibrahim Idris told journalists at the bomb scene that the bombers entered terminal with a minibus under the pretext of looking for passengers. The bombers, who were said to be between the ages of 17 and 19, detonated the bomb as soon as the bus was fueled. The incident was reported to have happened at about 3 p.m.
We discovered that there was a bomb blast at this Kano line in Kofa Nasarawa area in Kano State. In Kano City. So far, we've conducted just some preliminary investigation on the site, while detailed investigation will continue. What we have found out so far at the moment is that, as you can see, it involves 3 vehicles: a Sharon bus, a second bus, and a car, a golf car. We estimated that about 12 people have died in this blast. And from the information we gathered at the scene, it seems that the bombers, 2 of them, these 12 included 2 bombers. It seems that the 2 bombers came in that Sharon car as passengers from outside the city. So they came in, they are driven as passengers. In the process of moving out of the vehicle, after arriving at the motor park, that's the time they detonated the bomb. As I indicated, investigation is ongoing, and obviously you are going to be available of further development.
Ibrahim, Kano State Commissioner of Police. Just as if that was not enough, another suicide bombing again occurred in a commercial bus in Potiskum, Yobe State, attacking a bus. The suicide bomber was said to have disguised as a passenger to get onto the bus before detonating, killing scores of people. 10 persons, including the male suicide bomber, have been confirmed dead following the bomb blast. You recall that Potiskum has suffered several bomb attacks in recent times, and this latest attack is coming 2 days after another suicide bombing, allegedly by a 7-year-old girl. Well, in swift reaction to all of this development, Mr. President has described Tuesday's suicide bomb attacks as a sign of desperation by Boko Haram. He said that the decision to bomb soft targets is a sign that the insurgents are feeling the impact of the counterinsurgency operation of the Nigerian Armed Forces and the regional allies. On the show this morning, we're discussing issues ahead the rescheduled election, as we also consider all of the insecurity challenges being faced in northeast Nigeria. I'm joined by public affairs analyst GBOLA on the show this morning. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much once again for the opportunity.
Well, this is not the first time that we are hearing of suicide bombings, but what do you make of the reasons that was given by Mr. President that Boko Haram has now chosen soft targets as a result of the heat coming from the regional force?
It sounds logical. It sounds logical, and there's nothing that they've done that is outside the perfidious way they operate. This is not the first time. Yesterday's was not the first time they were going to bomb Potiskum. Yesterday was not the first time they were going to bomb a motor park in Kano. So I stand with the remark of the president, and I also want to believe that maybe, just maybe, because they're getting walloped now, they're looking for targets outside the theater of war, the primary theater of war, to wreak havoc, which they are known for, and it's now incumbent on us. It behoves us to be very, very vigilant, very observant, in all respects, and even as far down as Lagos. It behoves us to be very vigilant, to be very observant, to make sure that people and things that ought not to be in certain positions are queried when we see them there.
The Nigerian military seemed to be at the center of lots of accolades. Just yesterday, the House of Representatives also hailed the military and the federal government on the current effort in combating insurgency.
It indicates what we've been saying for long. I've been here, for the upteenth time I've been here to tell you, and I've said it severally, that our boys are not cowards. Our boys can fight. If the military leadership and the political leadership don't fail them, look at the results we're getting. The present battles that are being won are not won by robotics. We didn't suddenly fly to California or Silicon Valley to go get robots. The same boys who a couple of months ago were refusing to go to the theater of war because they knew that they were being shortchanged by the leadership of the country, political and military. The same boys are now the ones fighting and winning. And that was why I said here severally that our boys are not cowards. We have a volunteers army, a volunteers armed services. We are not a country that compels our youngsters to go into military service.
Before we get to that, let's look at the political dimension to all of this. Just yesterday, someone called on the show and was saying that I'm amazed that APC hasn't come out to applaud the efforts of the Nigerian military. But the APC came out, I believe, yesterday to laud the efforts of the military in recent victories. But on the other side, they said that they berated President Goodluck Jonathan for allowing the Boko Haram menace to fester, leading to the deaths of over 15,000 Nigerians. Is there a way we can detach the efforts of the military from the leadership of Mr. President?
Look, if you celebrate a man, look, your team goes into a match. I usually tell people this. Your team goes into a match. At the beginning of that match, 0-0. Team GBOLA over 0. Team Nefemi 0. Your defense kept in on you. Your middle, this thing, kept in on you. I scored 1, I scored 2, I scored 3. Oh, because you started returning the goals, 3-1, 3-2, you are looking at yourself as a champion. If you are a critically thinking human being, if you are a thoughtful, insightful human being, wouldn't you have questioned what made your defense to cave in for you to have 3 goals scored against you in a match that ordinarily your game plan was to come and win? Am I making a point? At this juncture, let's give it to President Goodluck Jonathan that the military has been equipped enough for the boys to do what they had always wanted to do. But on whose account am I going to pin the 4 years of failure that made a ragtag army suddenly a regional Malay that other countries have to help us to eliminate? On whose account am I going to put that? I put it on GBOLA's account. Let me put it on Buhari's account.
Just a minute. Let's look at the excerpt.
Nufemi should be at that.
Let's look at this excerpt from the APC. They said the president has deliberately allowed the Boko Haram crisis to fester because
deliberately, APC too. Sometimes I have a problem with them.
Just a moment.
You cannot say deliberately. He was incompetent. And the phenomenon magnified in his hand.
Just a minute. They said because he and his team saw it as their trump card for winning re-election in 2015 by current local and global sectarian sympathy with a Muslim group killing Christians narrative that totally distorts the fact that Boko Haram is a band of marauders, and it goes on and on like that. But will it be fair at this time to think that this was the reason why the elections were postponed, to give the military enough time to battle Boko Haram and solicit more support to Mr. President?
That was what the military did. That was what the military did unconstitutionally. They wrote against the dictate of the Constitution. They wrote directly to the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. They ought to have written through the chain of command of the military to the president, and the president ought to have contacted. But you see, the Constitution was blatantly abused. They wrote directly. The NSA wrote, and the service chiefs wrote. But you know what? That is in our past now. Some of us who are constitutional Puritans will keep accentuating points at which balls have been dropped. But at this juncture, I am proud to be a Nigerian. I'm proud to celebrate, our military, because as we have been saying, as I, GBOLA, have been saying on your program, severally, when you equip our boys, when you give them a leadership that is strategic, disciplined, honest, and has the moral uprightness to be worked for, our boys are good.
Where are you in these two divides? On one side, some are saying that indeed this success in the military operation has absolved the PDP and indeed Mr. President of any blame as regards the extension. On the other divide, some are saying this is the major reason why they extended the postponed the elections.
If you want to use the rationalization of the fact that the postponement of the election relative to military action, that there are two phenomena that one must give way for the other, then that is, I will tell you historically, I have more than 200 years of historical facts. America was fighting a civil war, and Abraham Lincoln went for the election. A sizable chunk of America, almost half of America, a continent for that. America is, if you fly from the east coast of America to the west coast of America, you are spending about 5 hours. If you're going from Washington to Alaska, you are spending almost 8 hours. It's a continent. Mind you, Alaska was not part of America then, but I have almost 200 years of historical facts that nations will be in war, and yet they will conduct the basic democratic rituals that they have to conduct, elections. Am I making a point? So, the military, using the military to stampede the electoral body, not that I believe the guy that he was ready, we must, you see, because in Nigeria, people talk blatantly and myopically from partisan position. I will look the guy straight in the face or in the eyes and tell him, Professor Jega, you are a liar. You were not ready when you said you were ready. But at least you were just fortunate to have the forepaw of the military and the jittery president who could not face the election to use that as an excuse for your postponement. Because me, GBOLA, I have lived in 3 countries in my life. I have never seen anywhere in the world, even in the advanced world, where a politician would know that he has an election date that he knows he's going to win and tell you for any altruistic reason that he wants that election postponed. I've never seen it before. And if I've never seen it in places like United Kingdom where I lived and partook in partisan politics, if I didn't see it in Germany where I lived, I don't want to believe President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan that he allowed the postponement or he succumbed to the postponement for altruistic reasons like people getting their cards or whatever. He was damn jittery. he knew he was going to lose.
Let's look at the impact of that now, because security, if you recall, was also one of the major ingredients of campaign.
Told you that
now that we are recording some level of success, do you see it impact on the decisions of the yet undecided electorate in Nigeria?
I pray for President Goodluck Jonathan that this may work for him. And look, where I am, any one of them wins, I just want the best for Nigeria. I hope it works for him, and I pray that if it works for him, that he will be sober enough to know that you don't use 4 years. You don't use 4 years as a sitting president and go to your neighborhood, go to Rivers and be telling them, yeah, Rotimi Amechi says I've not done anything, but you vote for me, I will do something. Does that say, look, I hope he must have learned his lesson on this occasion. If he says to this successfully, but you know what? His first 4 years, I will look him straight in the eyes and say, Your Excellency, your first 4 years was a failure.
Let's look at the position of the APC yesterday. They talked about a fake Shekau coming up, that it looks as if there's a directive to capture Shekau alive. The same APC that did not believe that Shekau had been killed by the military is now scared that another fake Shekau will come to indict the APC presidential candidate.
You are confusing issues.
How do you mean?
Let's be very methodical the way we pick issues. APC is jittery now, and they have reasons to be jittery because the postponement, the postponement is given, it seems to be giving the president and the PDP some fresh air. You know, that was actually this thing they used when they campaigned the last time. Seems to be giving the president some fresh air to breathe. So if you are an APC media strategist now, you just be looking for any straw to hold on to, just to make sure that you stigmatize what may be a positive for the president, and but you must also accept the fact that our top military echelon is now generally perceived by independent-minded people and partisans who are opposed to the president and the PDP to be corrupt. Corrupt in the sense that they are not seen by majority of independent-minded people like myself, and people who are on the other side of the PDP, they are not seen to be playing their role devoid of partisanship. We have a tape that is yet to be probed. And in that wise, APC could go to town and say, you know what? They, given the bunkum that APC is saying, and I'm using my word, reservedly. For me, it's bunkum, what APC is saying. But you know what? In a game where mischief and insincerity by some parties are played up, you also want to make sure that you are shouting fire, 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 even before you see fire. APC too is jittery now.
But let's also consider the value. Let us logically, just a minute. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Ogbefo, please. I'm calling you from Benin.
Go ahead with your contribution, Ogbefo.
Yeah, I thank you so much for this your program. I want to greet my Oga there.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
And you, the presenter, also, good morning.
Good morning, Ogbefo.
You see, to all these things that is happening, for what the APC are saying, well, I will not be too far from them. And another thing is that now the so-called election is at hand. Is now so Mr. President wants to act to us. Does this president even think that we are kids, we are children? How did this man even look to us? He looked to us that we are fool or what? He has been in that seat for 4 years. And Boko Haram have been killing our people. And only for this election postponement. And now the ministry are working. I mean, Nigeria are not full. grateful. We are watching. We just want the election to come. This will not help anything. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Grateful, for your contribution. Let's logically consider the validity.
Let me chip in something to what the gentleman from Benin, Grateful, just said. I was chatting on the internet yesterday with a presidential advisor, one of the advisors of the president, and I told him, I said, you see, I hope that this postponement will not further make some people who may have decided to vote for the president before to join against him, to vote against him. And I said, you know what? Research tells us that people generally make up their minds about a year before an election day, a balloting day. As it is now, some who may have had their weddings postponed, some who may be a part of those who have lost about 800 billion naira in the stock in the capital market, subject to the postponement of election. Some whose lives may have been disrupted in some respects out of anger, who may have wanted to vote for him before, may vote against him. And you know what? Some too, who because of the issue of Boko Haram before, felt, you know what? He was dropping the ball, maybe because they live in some of the cities or some of the towns that were formerly under the hands of Boko Haram. So I think, you know what, the person who is winning for me, let me vote for me. But you see, for me, GBOLA OBA, and that is another point where I may have a degree of inflection on the point of Ogbefu, where I may agree with Ogbefu. The president, in many respects, failed himself and failed Nigeria in the first 4 years of his term.
Let's take this call if we can. Hello, good morning. Good morning, are you there?
Hello?
Can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Hello? Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Hello?
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay. Hello?
I need to turn down the volume of your TV set when you call it. If you don't do that, that probably automatically turns you off. GBOLA, let's consider...
Tell them, don't waste your... As soon as they get through, tell them to kneel. Zeal the volume of the TV set.
Okay, that's settled already. But let's begin to consider the... many are concerned about the position of the APC when it comes to insecurity in the name of terrorism, because we see a situation now in the a statement released yesterday where they are talking about a shekau coming out. The plan, according to APC, is that it will come out to mention their own presidential candidate as a sponsor of Boko Haram. Now, many are saying, just a minute, GBOLA, that this is the same shekau that APC never believed was killed by the Nigerian military.
This is the same shekau that the military had claimed severally before that they have killed. This is the same shekau that Marilyn Hoga looked us straight, looked the face of Nigerians through the camera and said, we are confident that shekau has been killed. So if they come out now and say they have a shekau, if they come out now and say they have a shekau, who should I first look straight into his or her eyes and say, but you said you've killed? Are they the first people I should address, or the person who is alleging, even before the facts are born, that they want to use a fake shekau, that they are coaching a fake shekau to stigmatize the candidate? Who would you have ordinarily, in the logic of your own vocation, who would you first address? The people who claim to have killed shekau. So if they see another shekau now, I want to know why I should be believing them. Because I, talking to you now, as a news-serving Nigerian, I have been addressed about 3 or 4 times before that I have footages for by people in authority in this country, from the head of our military to the spokesperson of our intelligence community, that shekau has been killed.
What they call the new phase is the shekau imposter.
Oh, so have they accepted to that? Because the only other news organization that gave me a credible evidence that shekau, that there seems to be shekau impostering a lot of shekaus, was was Al Jazeera. One Shekau was at the back of a Hilux. Another Shekau, unbeknownst to them, was standing adjacent to one of the doors. But even when our officialdom was intimated with that fact, they were claiming that they had killed the Shekau.
Yes, exactly. So that has been the position of the Nigerian military, that they had killed Shekau. Whoever is coming up now is an imposter of the Shekau that we already killed.
So if the authority now could, if they in any way, shape or form, come up with anybody that claims to be Shekau again, I will tell the people in authority that, you know what, I can't believe you.
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning. Turn down the volume of your TV set. Can you do that?
It's a simple instruction.
This is Dada Folabi from Lalate.
All right, can you turn down the volume of your television set?
Okay, I will do that.
Okay, Dada Afolabi, where are you calling from?
Dada Folabi from Lalate.
Lalate.
The issue of showing somebody as a cow, it is all politics. We Nigerians, we are of intelligence. Nobody can just, bring anything and say, this is what you should believe. It's all now to believe that somebody will now come and, disappoint the APC candidate for the presidency and say he has been the hand of insurgents. So all these things are politics and they are being, used with a view to win sympathy, a view to winning sympathy for their candidate. So they are not doing anything genuinely to upgrade the advancement of democracy in this country. What they are now doing is to outwit each other with a view to winning this election. Then the issue of commending our military now that they are trying, they are doing this and that. So, haven't the same military that has been doing what they were doing since about, say, 8 months ago, we have everybody now, don't have confidence in them again that they are our former military men. They do everything with a view to winning this sympathy. Every party is guilty of that. So, but I think the Nigerian public are intelligent enough to, what evidence have we that after this election, insurgents will not come back? We are not fools. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dada Folabi, for your contribution.
No, it's close to the fantastic and legitimate question.
But do you think that the electorate really come up to that stage of making decisions based on issue-based analysis?
I don't want to sit in your, sit on your hallowed platform and be, doing what politicians or some pretentious analysts do by pretending to know the general opinion of the electorate. I've told you severally, even when I've had occasions in the past to lambaste you for quoting some opinion polls. Was I not vindicated eventually? So I don't have credible polls to work on in Nigeria. I will only speak about GBOLA OBA. For me, GBOLA OBA, this is a positive turn of event for our nation. We should seize the moment and go on with the requisite discipline and leadership needed to max it out. But the truth is that at a point we failed and failed woefully. Failed and failed woefully. Nigeria, that used to be a country that would send our military personnel to go and help other West African countries. Nigeria, when I was a boy in the 70s, I had an uncle, my mother's younger brother also then. He was sent to the Lebanon, in the Middle East, to go and keep peace for the United Nations as a member of the Nigerian Armed Forces. The same Nigeria now being helped by Raka countries like Chad, Niger, Cameroon. When Buhari was the commander of the Nigerian army by this during Shagari's time, Cameroon A Cameroonian army shot at the Nigerian army. Buhari was heading in Cameroon territory. I'm not saying this because I want people to vote for Buhari. For me, he's not the best of candidates. It is the failure of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. The massive failure of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan that could make another party in Nigeria to go and dig out a 30-year-old retired general, a general that had retired 30 years ago. He should be ashamed of himself. I hope this electioneering period will sober him up. If he wins, to know that he needs to hit the ground running. But you know what? Nobody can excuse the fact that it was a failure for almost 4 years.
It's all right, brother.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to Call Digest.
My name is Salisu. I'm calling from Niger State.
Salisu, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Your guest, I'm deliciously happy with your guest this morning. Because the reality on ground has shown that the present government has failed the Nigerians. This present government didn't value life. So that is number one. It didn't value life. What they value most is money that goes straight to their account and their family. Because Boko Haram has existed for almost 5 years or 6 years to 7 years now. And when Yaradua was alive, when these people come out in, when the Boko Haram started in Burundi, this man used force with them. He didn't allow them to even have a stay. He hit them with their wives. He started hitting them anywhere he see them. So look at from government of present government we are in for almost 6 years. They give you AK-47 to go and fight a person that is holding a mighty gun, a gun that has up over 1,000 rounds. Yeah? So they want to keep our boys for suicide. They don't want to finish our soldiers' integrity. But look at now, as election is around the corner, they now went and bring weapons from outside, heavy weapons, say they want to fight Boko Haram. For what? Life is not for politics. Human life has to be valued. Look at America. America died. They declared public holiday. But in Nigeria, 1,000 of people died. A politician will go to campaign. Look at what happened in Abuja last time. When bomb was blasted, Jonathan is going to Kano. Is that a leader?
It's all right, Salisu. Salisu, thank you very much for your contribution. In criticizing this present administration, I will also consider the uniqueness of the challenges we are being faced with, because the initial onslaught of the military on Boko Haram was greeted by some global criticism of what they call violating human rights. Have you also considered that in the efforts of this administration?
I am one who will be sober enough, who will be humble enough, and who will be God-fearing enough to tell you that the phenomenon that our military is facing now is in many respects unique, in many respects unprecedented. And I am also one who believes that most armies, like our army or our armed forces, are trained for conventional warfare, and that the war they are facing now is more asynchronous. It is not a case of Nigerian army facing Cameroon army or Nigerian army facing Niger army. It is a case of guerrilla warfare, terrorism, and sometimes even the opponent will mess with your people. You can imagine that Boko Haram at the point took the homestead of the chief of defense staff. In that condition, the chief of defense staff will not just tell the Air Force, go and strafe them. Just go and strafe them, because he will also consider the fact that his ancestral home is there. So fighting this war is uniquely difficult. But is this same type of war being fought successfully in some other parts of the world? Yes. Nigerians, for what we are we very adaptable to learning those things if the conditions will be right. Because you see, as I was a student in Nigeria, I went abroad. I was a student in the UK, and I know of so many, including some of my own children, in American universities now, winning medals, dusting their contemporaries. Indeed, when Buhari went to the American War College, he was celebrated as a very distinguished student. So because we are adaptable, if we know and we see how the phenomenon was gradually developing and eating into our peace, eating into our territory, we were losing territories to a bunch of ragtag this thing, and one fool will come before a camera with beard every day and saying, hey, I stopped watching the cow on tape for more than 1.5 years now because the guy irritates me. The same Sambisa is what is being combed now, clean by our boys. The same Sambisa village that became so impregnable. We failed our boys. Like I told you severally before, we don't have cowards in our army. Now our boys are not cowards. Leadership failed them. But now that their basic needs have been attended to, is it the same war? Was it not the same asynchronous war that they are fighting? And they are whacking and walloping Boko Haram to smithereens now? My brother.
If we had reasons, to justify our criticism of the perceived failures of the past, should we have also a similar motivation to celebrate the efforts ongoing now?
Are we not celebrating? I told you that Nigerians... I told you I'm a very happy Nigerian now. And more so happy, you should even be celebrating people, without wanting to be immodest. You should be celebrating people like me. I was on your program about 7 times. I told you that I believe that our boys are not cowards. Give them the right equipment, our boys will fight and fight gloriously. When the Nigerian army, at a point, we reduced our boys to, like, they weren't even ready to fight. I said that. I said, give them the right equipment, they will fight. These guys, they have earned international accolades across the world, serving in peacekeeping duties from the 60s. So, for God's sake, are they not the same boys now walloping Boko Haram? Haramists now?
Just a minute, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Good morning, welcome to Call Digest. What's your name?
Hello?
Hello, you're on to Call Digest. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Oshogo.
What's your name, please?
I'm calling from Oshogo.
What is your name, caller? Biodun from Oshogo. You have 1 minute. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Okay. I am Biodun.
We got that. Can you go ahead with your contribution, Biodun?
Okay. I want to contribute to the debate.
Go ahead, please.
Nigerians are not to, Nigerians are not to fear. I heard from the discussors saying that Jonathan, they should have rooted the insecurity of the country through the president. He should know that the president is partaking in the election. So if he had gone through the president, you would still accuse the president of subtling the election. So you are not sincere. Actually, the president used his wisdom. If I were him, if you were the discussor, you would do the same. The topic will come from a neutral body so that the meeting they held will bring out the clue. If he has gone through the president, you will criticize the president that he has stopped the election. So let us be sincere.
It's all right. Thank you very much, Biodun. Just a minute, GBOLA. We have to take a commercial break now. And when we come back, you have all the time to react to that. Stick around. Don't go away.
Has it been a difficult task for you to purchase exquisite, classic, durable and sturdy furniture that will last the test of time? Here is good news for you. Purchase high-quality furniture for your household, offices, hotels and schools at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Office address, Goshen Plaza, Showroom 28, Kubo Furniture Market, AYA, Nyanya Road, Abuja. Telephone 0803 119 1444 or 09291 7482. Email princeemeka240@yahoo.com. info@princeinterior.com. Website www.princeinterior.com. Purchase your furniture at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Classic, strong, exquisite.
Wednesday, GBOLA public affairs analyst is our guest on the show this Wednesday morning. Thank you very much for staying the course.
Thank you very much. Let me address Biodun's Biodun in Osogbo should know that the president swore to uphold the Constitution, and there is no place in the Constitution that allows officers of the president who should report to him, even when we know that it's the president's bidding that they are doing, to stampede the chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission to do something that the president would take and would benefit from. So Biodun also was being clever by half, because ordinarily what should take precedence above anything is the dictate of the Constitution. Who benefits from this electorally? Let's ask ourselves. It's simple. I want to ask Biodun. I asked the question earlier on here. Biodun, when he was talking, I had, like I sensed some Ghanaian accent in his, in his use of words or language. He should look at other jurisdictions across the world and tell me, from the developing parts of the world, the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere of the world, and tell me when last he saw a politician, a very good-hearted politician, who he knew that there was an election slated that he was perfectly going to win, and because he wanted to fight in about 2% of the territorial area of the country, decided to postpone an election. Biodun should ask himself those questions. Because you know what? The two sides are playing politics with our lives. If he is the supporter of the president, he should come out and say it straight.
No, I think what I was actually trying to say was that it wasn't right for Mr. President to sit and decide on a matter that he was also...
Who benefits from this? And the president had the temerity to look before a TV camera, and he told us that he was not even aware they were going to postpone the election.
Are you saying that Mr. President is a beneficiary of these postponed elections?
If you give me the example of the polity where you saw a politician postpone an election that he knew was going to win, and there was no national emergency, a major disaster disrupting the terrain or a serious war. And I've given you about 200 years of example, from the American Civil War down to contemporary issues around the world, where the wars will be going on and elections will hold. Elections held in Afghanistan, elections held in Iraq, elections recently held in Syria. Mali had the northern part of his country once seized by an equivalent of Boko Haram. The France had to come in to help them to retrieve this thing, and elections held in Mali. So if they want to use security, they must use it in a way.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to Call Digest.
Yeah, good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this Nnamdi from Anambra State, Oka, to be precisely.
Please go ahead with your contribution, Nnamdi.
Yeah, I've been following interest on what your guest is, and other callers have been saying. Nigeria is a kind of a country
we are referring Nigeria to America or Germany or Europe. We don't have the same sensibility of America and Nigeria are not the same. That's 14th February. And there is if there's any problem, people will now turn to blame the president. People will not come to blame the army. Didn't you know that this thing is happening? Why should we hold this election? And now the INEC has said, or the army has said that about the security. Why not Nigerians have patience? This election is going to be hard. People are dying in North. People are dying in Nigeria. The opposition are saying, because how do they think that they will win the election that has not been taking place? So let us leave these people. If they say the election is coming, we will all die to see that the election is here. We won't be alive, even after the election. People are talking, president. Yes. If people don't see good.
I'm afraid we lost that. Nnamdi, thank you very much for your contribution from Anambra. But eventually, after all, no, it was a dropped call. Would you say, because many people are beginning to juxtapose lots of factors together, if indeed we're winning the war against insurgency, more Nigerians are getting the permanent voter cards. Eventually, the 6 weeks postponement, would you see it as a blessing in disguise?
It's a fact of our life now, and you see, as human beings, that's the difference between human beings and lower animals. We have a 6-week advantage now to, like I told you earlier on, if the guy were to be sitting before me, I would have told him, Prof, the day you said you were ready for that election, the eve of that, when you said you were ready for that election, now lie, they lie. Prof, you know ready. Even that time, say, me self, I never collect my PVC. You understand what I'm saying? But you see, the truth be told, in utter disrespect for the Constitution, some measures were taken. And the guy, if I were to swap places with him, I'm not a saint. Sometimes even when I know I've failed in some respects, if I have opportunity to cover my failure, I will use that opportunity to cover my failure. The guy used their letter. They wrote to him. They didn't just call him. There were credible records from the guy that, you know what, the security chiefs and the NSA wrote to me saying they were not ready to provide the requisite security needed for the elections. And because of that, I am postponing it. The facts are now, you know, we are, it's a fait accompli now. So, the guy will also perfect his art. We thank God that the image of our military is getting redeemed, because the president did what he ought to have done years back by providing them the requisite materials and tools and equipment to prosecute any serious war. And with the right tools and equipment and weapons in the hands of our boys, you see that our boys are not cowards. We have always told you people. In fact, if any of your viewers don't know, you should have known that I've always told you here that our boys are not cowards. That's why they are winning. And we hope that in the spirit of what is happening now, if it works out well for the President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, if this gives him the redemption he thinks he needs to be re-elected and he gets re-elected, we hope that he will not forget this lesson so soon and go back to sleep when he wins.
It's all right. We'll take this last call before we go on the show this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest. What's your name?
My name is Ife Sinachi.
I didn't get that.
Ife Sinachi.
Ife Sinachi. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Minister Abuja.
From Abuja. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Bola Oba. Mr. Bola, may God bless you and bless your children and generation for being honest.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now, I want to tell you, some of us have seen so many things happening here, even though we don't want to talk about this on media. We are waiting for the election so that we vote out this man. This man, I tell you, the most corrupt president Nigeria has ever had.
Can you prove that,
My brother, if you come to Abuja, I can show you up to 200 houses owned by Goodluck Jonathan. Yes, I can. And many Nigerians can. This is just one of the aspects of the corruption of this current president. So please, and I want to use this opportunity to please talk to my Southeastern brothers. I don't know why they are doing what is called blind followership to Jonathan. I don't know what Jonathan has done for us in the Southeast. I consider their best. And we are not blindly following this man. Please, let our Southeastern brothers open their eye and be aware politically. Some of us think they are professors in academics. But politically, they are still in darkness. Orange seller in the north are more informed politically than most of those who say that professors. Our Southeast. Please, Jonathan is not capable of being the president of Nigeria. Apart from being incompetent, he's also corrupt.
Well, thank you for your contribution, Ife, for calling in from Abuja this morning. We have to wrap up the show this morning, but it's unfortunate also that we have a lesser...
I don't have a proof that President...
I just asked him if he had a proof, and he said he has proofs.
But you see, as a Nigerian...
Just a minute,
as
GBOLA.
a Nigerian, I know my president could have done better in many of the circumstances, lackadaisically.
I want us to wrap it up this way.
Approached.
Unfortunately, we have a lesser than issue-based campaign going on. But how do you see the Nigerian electorate coming up with facts
and
figures to make quality decisions
it's gravitating to
the elections?
To some issues now. Security is, you know, getting tug of war between the two parties now. In the past, look, I came here. In the past, you know, the strategy of the PDP campaign team was they thought they could stigmatize, just paint Buhari black.
No, but would you call the fake Shekau propaganda an issue-based
in the past, that was their strategy. But some Hausa members of the team eventually got the ears of the president and told him that, you know what, sir, the way you people are abusing Buhari is giving him sympathy vote in some parts of the country. And to be honest with you, they were winning him sympathy votes. Now, at least security is getting accentuated now as a major issue to be addressed. The president can now rightfully say that, you know what, I've gotten my acts together, the equipment are here, our boys are winning the DC. Alternatively now, APC also should give us their own strategy for how to continue, in case they win, how to sustain this positive momentum. APC should let us know. We don't want all this. They have arrested one Shekau or fake Shekau. They are coaching him on how to lie against Buhari. That ain't no issue for us.
That's not issue based.
You know, but all said and done, the two parties are calling partisan advantage from everything that is happening.
Let's take this last call.
We should not be fooled.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Call Digest. What's your name?
My name is Nike.
Nike?
Yeah, Nike.
Yeah.
Where are you calling from?
Edo State.
Where in Edo?
Benin.
Benin. All right, go ahead with the contribution.
Don't tell him if you come with you.
Say what?
Go ahead with the contribution, Nike.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Boko Haram issue.
All right, go ahead, please.
The Boko Haram issue, why was it not for 6 years? Why is it now that the election was postponed before they now know they want to pass on the issue? Yeah?
Are you asking me?
Yes. Why didn't you 5, 6 years, 6 years ago or 4 years ago? Why is it that now
legitimate question to ask.
Postpone the election?
It's all right. I believe that's a contribution, Nikki. Thank you very much for calling on the show today. Unfortunately, I'm not in the
It's a legitimate question to ask.
Right office to answer that question.
It's supposed to be a rhetorical question.
Is it a function of the timing or the fact that it's being done?
Nifemi, I gave you an analogy of a football match earlier on. If you were to lead a football team to a match and they started the game on a 0-0 platform and your team's defense started caving in and you got 5 goals against you, it's not every day that you have the miracle of the man, you know.
What happens if you now score 6 goals before the 90 minutes? The
anxiety, look.
Would it be a function of why you lost 5-0 or the fact that you eventually won the match?
Even if you won, if you are a thoughtful human being, if you want to convince me that you are a bit higher than lower animals, you must examine what were the frailties, what were the failures, what were the reasons why you considered 5 goals. You must, as a human being. Success does not give you the liberty. Sustainable success is when you question, even in winning, what you could have done better to maximize the winning potential. Am I making a point? That is why sustainable success is kept. The most dangerous one to be on the face of the earth for a fool is to be successful and not have a methodology to sustain it. Because you are winning does not mean you have a right to just be shouting, I'm winning, and I look at your irresponsible past, and you just want to tell me, you just want to tell me to give you a carte blanche this thing. No, life is not governed like that.
Passionate and dramatic, Baloba. Thank you for joining us today on Call Digest. A big thank you to all of our callers. You can also follow us on Twitter at Call Digest Live. We'd love to hear from you on that platform. I am Nifemi Ogutoye, and God willing, I'll be here again tomorrow with another exciting edition of Call Digest. Stick around for the top of the hour news. Don't go away.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then news. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.